This is Charter Local Edition. My name is Brad Pomerance. We're in the Inland Empire today. We are joined by Cheryl Brown. She is a member of the California State Assembly representing significant portions of the Inland Empire. As you know, as some of our viewers know, I've been a caregiver. My wife, for a time, was quite ill with Crohn's and colitis. We had two infants and toddlers at home, and I was taking care of all three girls. As I said, I've said this on the air, I had three girls in diapers, my wife and my two daughters. And so I know how hard it can be to be a caregiver. You've been a caregiver.
I've been a caregiver for since 2002. My husband was diagnosed with ALS.
Right.
And he is progressing, but he's doing okay.
Right.
He's doing okay.
I mean, since 2002,
Right.
he's really doing
Yeah.
quite well.
Right.
I mean, we've heard progressions be much more rapid
right.
and unfortunately end quickly.
Yeah. So he's doing well, and what it's done for him is to sharpen his mind even more.
Interesting.
So he has a great time with his writing and a great time with his study of the family tree.
I love that. I'm an amateur genealogist,
Yeah.
so I love that.
Oh yeah. So
But let's talk about, if we may for a second, us. Because I think, and I learned, that caregivers can get lost. And what happens is that the caregiver then becomes at risk of illness. And so if that happens,
then everybody goes down.
then everyone goes down.
Right, right.
And so what have you learned, not only as a caregiver, but someone who has looked into the issue of caregivers?
We've been dealing with this issue for quite a long time. But now that I'm the chair of aging and long-term care,
Of course.
we're looking at it in a pretty holistic way. We are looking at what the state needs to do. And one of the things that I find in the state is there are silos. And most people don't know that we have caregiver resource centers. And we weren't funding the caregiver resource centers to get the word out. And those who were using it we're doing okay, but there's just not enough money to really do the job.
I want to mention an old friend of mine is a woman named Lisa Gibbons. I don't know if you remember
yeah,
Lisa
I
Gibbons.
remember
Yes.
her.
She's a mentor of mine, and she has a history of Alzheimer's in her family. Both her mother and grandmother passed away from Alzheimer's. She started an organization called Lisa's Care Connection, and it is the facilities which you mentioned. It provides resources for the caregivers, because you know, as someone who's dealing with someone
Right.
that has a disease that can impact the body and the brain, it can be crushing for the caregiver.
It really can be. And it's very, very, that's why the state has to put more resources into the subject. And with this committee that AJR 8 has
Right,
developed.
and that's what I wanted to ask you about.
Right.
It was AJR 8,
Right.
a resolution that was passed. Did it need a governor's signature, or does it
No,
need that?
it didn't need the governor's signature,
all good.
but both houses passed
Oh,
it.
that's good.
And what we're going to do is we're going to be at USC, and USC is going to house the program. And what they're going to do is look at all of the caregiver resources we have for the state and see how we can connect the dots.
I can't tell you how pivotal that is. When I was an active caregiver, I'm not much anymore. I still have to work with my wife a bit, but nothing like it was, nothing like you're dealing
Right.
with now. It was lonely, it was isolating.
It is.
And it was hard to reach out, because there was my wife in such physical pain and emotional pain, and you feel like there's nowhere to turn.
And she only wants you to be there with her.
Exactly, exactly.
Well, I'm very, very fortunate that my husband's brother
Right.
decided to come and help me.
And I've
So-
actually seen some family pictures of yours. You have a great network. I mean, you have, family and friends there, and there's
But
no
you know,
doubt.
that's the problem with care. That's the problem coming up, is that I have a large family.
Right, but what if you...
But
Right.
right now we're finding that people are not having children as they had before.
Right.
So who's going to take care of the seniors? 1,000 people a day are turning 65, and that's every single day for the next 13 and a half years.
And consider that we are living longer.
That's right.
And as we live longer, our bodies may give out a bit.
Right.
And so we'll need caregiving
Yes.
for a longer period of time. So tell me about this USC incubator, can I call it?
Well, it's not. What it is going to be is that there'll be 12 members of a board, and these will be high-level people who are dealing with the issues of dementia and Alzheimer's. I think there's a Dr. Bredesen or something that came and did a workshop for me. That level of person is going to be asked to be on this free board.
Right.
But it's because they know we have to find solutions to that problem.
What do you hope to see at the end of this, the board's work? Is it a request for additional funding? Is it a request for grants, a request from the federal government, from philanthropy? What are you looking?
I think a combination of all of that. We don't know yet what's going to happen because we're not going to,
of course,
we're not going to say,
prejudge.
okay, this is what we want to have
course.
happen. No, what we want is to have the data drive the solution.
And I want to say I thank you for this because as a caregiver myself, it's good to hear that the state and one of its leaders is looking into this issue because we do feel forgotten at times. When we just want to be selfless, it's hard because sometimes the caregiver does need to be selfish.
But that's one of the things that the Caregiver Resource Center is good about, is they are funded to give you a respite.
Right.
Most people who are caregivers can't get away.
None.
So you have to have somebody that can step in. The problem is that the patient usually doesn't want you to leave. And they don't want this person coming in that they don't know. So we have to work, that has to be a part of the work of this committee.
You're also, and have been for quite some time, looking to help veterans.
Oh, yes.
That is a passion of yours since
Very
I've
much.
known you. There was, I think it was a hearing recently. Was it in the Inland Empire?
No, it was in Sacramento.
It was in Sacramento. Tell us about the hearing.
The hearing, Prop 41, Prop 42, we passed, the voters passed it back in, I think, 2012. And there was $600 million to be put into housing for our veterans. And it's homeless housing for veterans, it's mental health housing for veterans, it's veterans with a wraparound service
pivotal.
Of housing.
So we think about these men and women who travel 10,000 miles away, and sometimes they come back and they're not the same person. And we need to bring them home in more ways than one.
That's right, and that's my charge.
Right.
That's something that I think is important. That's why I tell people, when you see a vet, tell them that you appreciate it.
Right. Yes.
I saw a man, he had, just the other day in the airport, and he had Navy written on his hat. And I walked over to him and I said, "Sir, thank you for your service." And his whole arm there was something wrong. And I said, "Are you okay?" He says, "Well, you know, I have my battle scars." And I said, "Is there anything I can do to help you?"
Was he aware of your position?
No. No, I never told him who I was.
Wow.
I just tied his shoes, and I was happy to do it.
It makes me want to cry when you say that.
I did.
What else did you learn at the hearing?
The hearing, I learned that, number one, the money is there, but we need to have the program written so that you can go after the money.
So one can apply for grants.
Right. You can. It's not even so much applying for grants, but applying for the to build housing for veterans, to build services that go around. But everything they want is a wraparound service for the veterans, so that you don't just have a house. And then they become isolated, or they become fearful that they don't want to go out. No,
Thank you for who you are. Thank you for who you are.
You.
Her name is Cheryl Brown. She is a member of the California State Assembly. My name is Brad Pomerance, and this is Charter Local Edition.